All right, so here's the final topic in terms of the implicit relationship types, and this one is called keyed service lookup, and it's similar to the enumeration except that you can think of it as a dictionary being used instead of just a list. So this allows you to query into some kind of key value store, and it lets you effectively pick out the service that you need from a collection of services. So here's the idea. What we actually inject and store in the field, for example, is an I index of T key and T. So T key here is the type of the key by which you're going to be accessing the relevant services or components that you're interested in. So a T key here can be a string, but it can be an enumeration type, for example. It really depends on what you want. And the T type is, of course, the type of the service that you're actually trying to get. So T key can be the key in the collection. You can think of it like a key in a dictionary, and T is the type of element that you actually want to store. So the registration looks something like this. You do register type as before, but instead of using the as function, you use the keyed function. And the keyed function also takes this argument where you can put in a particular value. So in this case, I'm saying that I'm registering a type console log, and it's keyed as an I log with the key SMS as a string. And then of course the way you use it is you say my field and then square brackets, so it's using an indexer, and into the indexer goes the actual key that you're looking for. All right, so we're now going to go back to the setup where we had the two logging components. So we had the SMS log as well as the console log, and what we're going to do is we're going to make them in a keyed fashion using keys. So the question is, well, what about their actual implementation inside the reporting component? Does that change in any way? And in fact, it does. In fact, we're going to use an interface which is built into AutoVac, and that interface is called iIndex. So the idea is that we have this indexing interface which, just like an IEnumerable or an iList, is going to collect all the different implementations of the logging component. But this time round it will also have a key, so we're going to index them by a key of string, and the actual types that we're going to collect are obviously iLog types. So these are the different kinds of logs that we have available in the system, and yes, we do need an import for this. So once again, I will create a constructor which is going to inject the entire thing, and then of course we'll have some sort of report. So in this case I'll say report like so, and let us suppose that in the report I want to explicitly use the SMS logger. So the way to do this is as follows. I would say logs, and then I would use the indexer to provide the key as SMS, and I will say write and something like starting the report output, for example. Something like that. So now, of course, in the actual main function, we need to change all of this and go back to the setup where we had all the different kinds of logs available. But this time around, the API that we're going to invoke is going to be slightly different, because we'll do register type. So here is register type for the console log. But now, instead of calling as, like we did previously, we're going to call keyed. So keyed also specifies the type of service that you provide. So in this case, it's an iLog, but also you're able to provide the service key. And you'll notice that the service key here is an object. So this parameter info kind of keeps slipping away from me. Let's try this again. There we go. Service key. You saw it for at least a second, so you know it's there. So the service key is exactly what's going to be provided here. So in this case, we need to provide strings. So for the console log, I'm going to provide the key CMD, and then of course for the SMS log I will have to provide the SMS key. But remember, the SMS logger is actually initialized differently because it takes an argument, so we call register here instead of register type. Once again, I make a new SMS log which takes the phone number like so, and then I call keyed once again, so it's keyed as an iLog, and in this case I specify SMS to be the key. Now, apart from this, nothing really changes. We register the type of reporting like so, and then using var c equals builder.build, we then resolve the reporting component and maybe call the report method. So c.resolve of reporting like so, and then report. And that's all that we need to do. So the idea here is that instead of calling as, you called key and you specify the key. And so instead of initializing some sort of I enumerable, you have this I index thing. Now, I do have to wonder why they didn't simply put a dictionary in here to make it easy for everyone to migrate if they want to. But this is the setup that we have. We have this I index, and you index into it to get the appropriate service and then call something on it. So let's execute this. Alright, and as you can see, we acquired and successfully used the SMS service by providing the appropriate key right here. And that's all there really is to it.